Hello, hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Josh Belk. This is the Belk on Business podcast, and I appreciate you taking just a few minutes today to take a listen, and hopefully you find some value and maybe some takeaway that you can take and apply into your business here as we get close to wrapping up the year 2019. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk exactly on that particular topic, preparing for a new year. As we wrap up, getting close to the end of the year, we really want to take a step back in our business and making sure that we get 2020, in this case here, off to a good start. And here a month or two ago, we talked some about tax planning at year end and some things you want to consider, maybe both personally and in your business, doing to help minimize taxes, because there is a lot that can be done in 2019 that can't be done in 2020. But as we get into getting close to the end, we're into December now, into December 2019, and in a few weeks we're flipping over that calendar. And a lot of people think about, hey, we're getting into the new year. I want to start my year off and exercise right, or I want to start my year off reading books, or whatever the case may be, being a better dad, being a better mom, and maybe being proactive in those areas. And I think those are all good things and things we definitely should be doing, always working to improve. And for many people, the new year is a good time to do that. But I think we also should do the same in our business. And I know here in our business, we've been spending a lot of time here over the last couple of weeks evaluating where we at, evaluating what we want to do in 2020, and then putting processes, doing things in our business in order to make 2020 a better year than 2019 was. And so I just jotted down here just a few items, 5 different items maybe you want to consider in your business. Some of them may not be applicable. I think some of these will be applicable to all of us in our businesses. So as we prepare for the new year, some things that you want to do in your business to make 2020 a better year. First of all, revisit your processes. And I've mentioned in prior podcasts, and if you talk to anybody, any business consultant out there that talks about processes, they're always talking about constantly revisiting them, constantly improving those. And I think that's definitely true. And there is no better time of the year, I think, to be able to sit down and really look at your processes and say, what are some areas in my business I really need to work on to make next year a better year. And for us, I'll give you just a very practical example. In our business, it was just simply the way that we collect our data from our clients. And so we went through and we looked at, okay, what is that process? What does that look like? And so we want to improve that process. What is the process of getting information out to our clients, getting information back from our clients, and what are some areas that we can improve? So first of all, revisiting your processes. What are some processes in your customer experience? What are some ways that you can improve and to make that customer experience better? And many times that can get boiled down to a particular process that you can enact, you can enable. Number 2, revisiting your clients. I think it's in a good time of the year maybe to touch base, and what a better time of the year to be able to do that, to have an excuse to touch base with your clients than the holiday time. And just a few minutes ago, Manny, who's in the room, he and I were talking about client interaction and client experiences, and really not kind of knowing your clients. And I kind of gave some real life examples of mistakes that some vendors had made with us and here in recent days. And I don't want to be that person who makes mistakes in that client interaction. I want that client interaction to be personal and to be positive, and it really kind of aligns with what they're wanting. And so for us here, as we get close to the end of the year, I want to make sure that I'm touching base with each one of my clients as we get close to the end. As we get close to the end of the year, also analyzing your client base as it relates to whether or not you want to continue even working with that client. And so kind of shoring up that avatar, and sometimes maybe a client isn't a good fit for your business any longer, or you don't feel you're a good fit for them. And so maybe you want to reach out to them and say, hey, you know what, maybe 2020, maybe you want to, here's a referral, maybe we'd like you to move on. But I think in a more positive vein, really identifying the clients that we really want to continue working with, and really taking this time of the year to strengthen those relationships. Thirdly, identifying your capacity. Every business kind of reaches a point to where they've kind of said, you know what, we just can't do anymore. And so kind of looking at your capacity. Are we able to take on more? Do we need to hire somebody else? before we get into the new year to be able to increase our capacity, maybe to make our processes more efficient. But looking at your capacity, looking at your personnel, and maybe some changes, some tweaks need to be made there. So do you need to hire? All of our business need to have a point person responsible for client interaction. We just kind of mentioned that a minute ago. Now, one person in your business that's responsible, maybe sometimes it's the owner. I really take the onus on myself to want to make sure that I'm touching base with our clients, or somebody on my team is, but have somebody who's the point person with your client interaction, and also a point person within your business to be able to manage the processes. And all that really going to boil down to making sure that your capacity level is where something that you can manage. So if your processes are improved, your capacity is going to be able to go up. Okay, if your client interaction is a positive, is a good experience, many times it's gonna minimize the amount of time that you're gonna have to spend out there working on problems. Next, number 4, get started earlier. Get started earlier with communication. With collaboration, and we talked about extensively in the last podcast a little bit more on this particular topic. But getting started earlier with your communication with your clients. So as it gets close to year end here, we want to be proactive with our clients, making sure that they have the information they need, sending out tax planners, for example, to our clients who would like them, getting that information out to them so they have something there that can not only improve the customer experience that they have with us, but also help them also be organized as they begin their new year as well. So get started earlier, be proactive with communication, and also setting client expectations, which we talked about extensively in last week's podcast. And then lastly, planning out the new year. So getting to the point of sitting down and planning out the new year. We recorded a podcast earlier talking about budgets. And I think that's one thing that every household should do. My wife and I, we just talked about this here in recent weeks, sitting down and really making sure that our budget is planned out for 2020. You need to do the same thing in your business, getting your budgets taken care of, setting your annual and your Q1 goals. I think every business should have quarterly goals and also annual goals. They should have also longer-term goals than that. But setting those annual and those quarter one goals, making sure you get that taken care of before year end. So you talked about budgets, scheduling your quarterly meetings, going ahead and look at your calendar for this next year, get those meetings scheduled so your team has that in their calendars. So they know that, hey, this is time that I can't be taking off. I need to make sure that we're at these quarterly meetings. Putting together your marketing plan, maybe your content schedule, your content calendar, corporate development goals for this next year. Where are we wanting to work with our team on maybe improving the education or training aspect of the business? Where do we need help at? How can I help my clients, my employees, and setting those out and mapping those out as well. Project timelines. You have ongoing projects, making sure that you have those timelines set as you enter the new year. And so just a kind of a few things maybe you want to look at before you get into 2020. And hopefully this was helpful to you. Quickly, just kind of run through these. First, revisit processes. Secondly, revisiting your clients. Third, identifying your capacity. Fourth, getting started earlier. And then lastly, go ahead and sitting down and planning out this new year. Once again, this is Josh Belk with the Belk on Business podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, if you aren't subscribed already, I encourage you to do so. Have a wonderful day.